Okay, we are ready to go.
All right, I call to order the Public Works and Utility Committee held at the Village of Lisbon Hall, Wednesday, June 19th, 2024, 5:03 PM. Roll call, please.
Chair Moonen,
Present.
Vice Chair Beal.
Here.
Committee Member Everly,
Yes.
Committee Member Miller,
Yes.
Committee Member Plass.
Here.
Utility Accountant Sergeant,
Here.
Utility Engineer Don Neitzel,
Here.
DPW Director Willikowski.
Here.
And Clerk Capazza Catch to record the minutes.
All right, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, citizen comment. Anyone in person wishing to make a comment? None present. Move to online.
If anyone on Zoom would like to speak, please use the raise hand function. No hands raised on Zoom.
Right. There are participants today.
Just
Just one, all right. Hearing none, we'll move on to the meeting of minutes for May 15th, 2024. That's the Public Works Utility minutes in your packet. If there's any changes. Hearing none, I'd look for a motion.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Motion made by trustee Beal. Second. Seconded by Everly. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And I will abstain, actually, I'll just vote in favor. I read them and watch the video, so I can vote. So it'll be 5-0. Moving on to department reports. Department of Public Works. Nick Willikowski.
All right, so in May, we did brush pickup all May, basically. Went through about 1,400 gallons of fuel, 618 loads of brush, and that took us 29 days. There was 2 rain days in there, we had 2 training days, I believe there's a holiday in there too, so that's another week that we kind of added on and off. But it turned out good, we got it all done, no complaints, and got a big pile of brush now, so.
Is that 600? What's that compared to?
So previous years, I can quickly actually.
Don't bother.
I mean, I got a picture of it right here, I took a picture of it not too long ago, and last year, we had 385 loads.
Oh my gosh.
Double, practically. And then 2022, 381. And 2021, 524. And the good old 2019 year was 767 loads.
Wow.
But-
Did they drop that off at the old site?
Yep, we're all at the old site still.
And does someone come and mulch it?
Yep, so we're gonna have to eventually. Future meetings talk about this, it's gonna be a big grind,
Yeah,
a lot of brush in there, plus the new site has a lot of brush already, so.
right, it does.
We'll have to figure out something for doing like a double grind or something, but
Mhm.
yep, and those previous years usually took us between 16 and 12 days.
Wow,
So this year was a lot longer,
a
so.
lot of gas.
You guys did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Thank God nobody was hurt later driving.
Oh, yeah. And then I attached some pictures from the previous month that I forgot to fill out, but that's just some pictures of the mower out there in action, some tree training, in-house mower repair on the boom mower. The whole bracket was broken off, like I said, last meeting, so thought I'd take some pictures of some of the stuff that we've been up to, and then. On site repairs for the excavator, because hose always breaks every year, so. That, and then we got our new roadside mower. We had mower training with it. Archie from Surway came down and gave us a day of just going over it. Showing us the ropes on it. And then we had excavator and roller repairs. So that's about it for that. And I did brush pickup every day. And then just the typical office stuff. We received a new pickup truck. And like I said, a new mower, doing weed commission stuff. And then the Parks Department, we got the 3 summer help kids, Sydney, Brady, and Gabriel. They've been hard at it, doing a good job, weed whacking, mowing, and pulling weeds, and prepping baseball fields.
Thank you.
All right, any questions for Nick? No. Utility district, we'll start with Don Knightsall.
Here on one of the charts this morning before I went to a groundbreaking ceremony, so I had them on new ones quick.
Thank you, sir.
So the flows for the month of May, as I mentioned, they were high to start the month, and then they sort of started to come down in the middle of the month. It's been that kind of a spring so far to start the summer. Average flows for Janine for the month were at 26 gallons per minute. Plainview were at 34. And Willow Springs was at 41. With the chart I handed out. For the year. That chart seemed to be correct, but when I got to the flows for the month of May, that's the one that looks like this. It's for the month. Between Janine, Plainview, and Willow Springs, something looked off on the rainfall. They all didn't match. The rainfall obviously should match for each of the 3 stations. And then even the flow for Plainview never came back up at the end of the month compared to Janine and Willow Springs. So I had them check that, and I left this morning, and actually there was an issue with a cell reference in an Excel spreadsheet. So that was the issue. So the reprinted one you have in front of you, everything meshes up with the flow data we got from Sussex. So that is Janine, Plainview, and Willow Spring. Any questions on those? Then moving on to Richmond School Lift Station. The information gotten from Sussex on that. The runtime total between both pumps for the month was 44.1 hours. With an average of about 1.4 hours of runtime per day. The well readings, which were built off of, the well readings for the month of May was 61,800 gallons. The prior month for April, it was 43,000. So obviously they use a lot more water for that month. And then again, the sewer flow information they give me, the calculated flow they did, it showed it was 105,360. But it's a calculation, and they're basing it on 40 gallons per minute with those pumps. With pumps are not pumping 40 gallons.
So we're giving all the bill.
No, they bill off the well reading.
All they do.
So you're billed on the 61,800 gallons they read off the well. That sewer stuff they send us is just. They got the run times right, but the sewer flow is just a calculated number. They plug in 40 gallons a minute into the equation and it spits out 105,000 gallons.
Okay.
So that what we get for sewer information from them, the run times and the starts are good. Flow information is basically made out.
And they're aware of it.
Yes. So because initially they had it at 100 gallons a minute. That's why our flow looked like they were off the chart.
So what reference should we be using that for?
Just the starts and the run times. So I mean, if, you know, next thing, if we get 25 starts in a day on that station, we can look at it and say something. Okay. Or even the run times, you know, if pumps start running way long in a day, it's like, well, what's going on?
So flows don't matter.
The flows, it's just a calculated number they got because there's not an actual flow meter on that fuel station.
But
So,
looking at the next sheet. I'm looking, which is this spreadsheet on.
yep, that's the Richmond School Station. This is what we get every month.
Yeah, okay. But if you look at the Saturdays and Sundays. something's wrong.
And I don't know when it's. I don't know when it's when Sussex is pulling their information or when it's spitting it, when it's pulling it into the SCADA system or. I'll look, but I saw the same thing where it's. Some Saturdays and Sundays don't have much and there's others where. In times in the past when I've asked Ed Blake if he got stuff going on. Say, there shouldn't have been anything there this weekend.
I almost wonder if the state is not cycling.
Joe, is that mic on? Thank you.
But I can get more information on that from Dustin and Dennis at Sussex. Just to get a better understanding of why we might be seeing stuff on Saturdays and Sundays on here.
Or we've got inflow. Which gets us back to the time-honored discussion. What the heck is going on?
First thing I'm gonna tell you is Ed Blake is no longer with the school districts, now they have a new buildings and grounds guy.
Well, maybe that's better.
So I need to get in touch with him. Ed just told me that day that he's no longer with the school district. He's so tired. Doesn't sound that way.
Okay.
I don't know one way or another what happened, but yeah. So I will get in touch with the new buildings and grounds guy. I think in the course of the next month. I know they got summer school there, but again, look at the roof drains, try to determine where they're going. Talk to them about getting smoke testing done.
And some dye testing.
Yeah. Get that test. But I'll also talk with Dennis and Dustin to try to get better understanding why we're seeing stuff on Saturdays and Sundays, if it's on them or. They say no.
To me, if you look at these numbers, there's just too many that are. It just doesn't even make sense.
Okay, so the flows on this sheet doesn't matter to us?
No.
Yeah, I guess
So where it calculates in the 1,000 gallons on the right side of the page, that's a calculation, so they're taking the runtime. Times an assumed gallons per minute that the pumps are supposed to pump. But we know those pumps aren't pumping that with the condition that force me. So like I say, at one point they had in there that the pumps were pumping 100 gallons, per minute. They had the wrong pumps in there. Now they plugged in 40 gallons per minute because that's what our pumps are rated for. But I think our pumps are probably pumping closer to 20. You know.
Well, I mean, I guess you look at the starts and stops, and you would think, like, look at the first. That's 60 some. Flow totals is at above 60 and rainfall is above an inch. And that correlates to 24 starts. But if you go to like the highest day, which was the 7th, that's like 82 flow and over an inch, let's just say an inch and a half. But that day is, almost 2.5 times less starts than rain that's a half inch less.
Right.
So I guess that, to me, that doesn't correlate to ground infiltration necessarily.
Right.
Because you would presume the highest day of the month would have one of the highest start stops.
It's two different, so your inflow, one is a delay, so but your rainfall is gonna be immediate on that day, but then you're also gonna find out the following day is gonna be high.
It takes a little bit for that water to get there.
Sure, but I guess that's what I'm getting at is, look at like the first. There was rainfall of an inch and they had 24 starts. One would presume that would then, if there was ground infiltration, you would have somewhere around the similar start stops, but it drops by over 2.5 times.
Right.
So to me, I don't see a correlation between ground rainfall and start stops, which you should be if if the pump was actually picking up infiltrations in groundwater, shouldn't you also see a start-stop increase? That's just me.
This information is absolutely, I don't wanna say useless, but it's of limited value because nothing correlates.
Right, and that's my point as a
Yes.
non-engineer layperson trying to make sense of data is that.
Quit using common sense, Mr. Chairman.
Just throwing it out there. We seem to beat our heads up a lot over data that doesn't always make sense around here.
I don't know if we want to discuss Richmond School more on the
Yeah.
agenda item.
Yeah, we can.
Any questions then on the flow stuff for now for Richmond School?
So Richmond doesn't look out of whack.
In terms of the well usage, no.
Okay.
No, like you say, they did use 20,000 more gallons for the month, but
Well, I mean, also too, I think in May, they also had aerial training for the fire department, which I'm sure they draw out of the well for that.
all right, then moving on to fire station well, that charts in with your information as well, the water usage for that, there was 1,900 gallons, and I think that fell in line with.
They have a tank over there, right, in front of the station? In the ground? And do they draw out of that to refill and tankers?
That I don't know.
There's a tank there or more.
I don't know.
And somehow or another, I assume when they come back, they fill up the tanker out of that tank. Or tanks. And they have to refill. I'm just wondering, to me, 1,900 gallons. Seems kind of low, but I then presume to know how the fire operation goes. It just seems 1,900 gallons is nothing. And I'm sure those there's one for sure, if not more. Cause you can see the standpipes right in front of the building. So somehow or another, those get redone, and where is that water isn't going into the sewerage system, it's going into a truck. So we're not getting appropriate well readings that are going into the sewerage system is what I'm getting at. Which further it gets back into this later on, this discussion about the split between the school and the fire station.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd have to have somebody from the fire department comment on how they draw and discharge the water.
Yeah. Cause it could be 500 gallons goes into the sewer. Cause I hardly see anybody at that station. The times I drive by. So therefore. There's like 25 people in there taking showers for it.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to,
I wonder if they got a deduct meter on there that's not part of the flow she reads for them.
I don't know,
I made a note, I'll check on him.
I would like to see. If possible, at one of our meetings. Somebody here to discuss their operation, so we know what the heck is going on, because as we go forward with this split between Richmond and. The fire station, we get a more accurate sense of what the split is.
Can you make a note to have Kathy schedule a rep from the fire department to explain
Mhm.
their water usage operation?
I mean, they may be on the way back, stop over at the Bark River and fill up the tanker in, I don't know. Okay.
All right, any other questions with the fire station now? Moving on to Casey's well for the month, that was 29,746. So that remains in line with what we've been seeing, besides the hiccup that they had earlier in the year. No questions on Casey's. Business Park East, I got the final payment request sitting on my desk. So I'll get that out tomorrow.
And how much is that?
All I can tell you is for the retainage, and I think there's 15,000 of asphalt and some topsoil and seeding in there, so 65,000. between the retainage and a little bit of asphalt and tops on.
So a lot of times those bills over there, it goes to the, tip, that,
That would be, that's in the tip.
just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's going on with the ditch over there?
The ditch over there, I got that, we're gonna bring that up. We looked at that, it's a grading issue, and it's actually on us. So the payment request that's coming through, it's not on the contractor. There's an issue with some topo lines between phase one, when we did Richard Road. And phase two, when we did Leeds Lane. And just some issues where we brought one drawing into the other, and where they came together with the elevations, some stuff got messed up, the ditch has to get regraded. We gotta have part of it going to the south to the pond, and the rest of the short part of it's gonna come to the north to the culvert, so
It can work though?
we'll get it to work, yep,
Whose mistake is it?
it's ours, so we'll take care of it. I'll work with the contractor and we'll take care of it. As soon as we got a final plan together, I'll come down and review it. But I'm gonna work with, Utah and Peterson, that was a contractor on the job, as long as they're familiar with everything,
So are you paying for it?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just have to go by there and bring a call kept before the doctor, because I wasn't gonna be here tonight, and I'm going like. That thing is still in draining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a great issue, and the other thing we gotta, as part of what we're doing, we need to take in consideration where Pepsi's got these culverts dumping out. It's,
Yeah.
there's a lot of water coming off of that
Yeah,
wasn't initially anticipated, so. You need to make sure that that's going in the right direction.
Is that just storm drainage? Or
Storm drainage, all there, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Manhole sewer repairs, I left that on, I don't know what happened with that last month, did you guys approve that for payment, or?
No. I thought we were having that.
This was the one where,
Yeah. They went.
they went over due to the grouting, it took more grout to seal those.
We owe them the money. There's nothing on the minutes at all regarding what we did with that.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
who was that invoice from? Billy, sorry? I don't remember.
They were supposed to send two invoices, one for the contracted amount and one for the overlay, and I thought that was. I don't remember what happened. It's not in the minutes.
So that was in your report. That wasn't an agenda item last month? No, because this committee doesn't approve invoices. Village board does.
We recommend
No, because it's
Not invoices.
Or anything?
we don't.
not the way that meetings
Okay.
fall. It's just, the billing cycle doesn't.
So was there anything that's needed then from this committee, or should I address?
No, you can just send that to staff. I mean, we're gonna have to pay it. It was authorized for.
They're owed the money. Is what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, then, sewer system GIS map update, there was nothing, no updating for the month, as soon as the televising work, as soon as we get that stuff back from the expediters. We're gonna start incorporating that into GIS, so you can just click on it, find out when it was last televised and all that information, so.
It'd be interesting to find out if they found any surprises on.
Correct, that's, we're waiting on a report.
Okay.
How long does that take
What's that?
normally to get back?
We should have it here in the next couple of weeks.
They just did that a month ago?
And you need some time to.
We'll look at it, but normally by the time they send it, they'll already send us an estimate, so if they saw issues in a manhole, kind of like these manhole repairs that Visual Sewer did. By the time they send a report, they'll almost send an estimate along with it.
I'm more interested in laterals they found that we don't have records.
When they were out there doing it, I had someone out there, we were actually looking in manholes to see for the lots where we don't know where the laterals are. And Matt did find one or two lots where the sewer it comes in the manhole. So,
So then will that get
we'll get
reported
that,
back to Mike to make sure that we have the record?
right, and we'll get the map updated.
I think once that's
I-
done, we should,
The ones you found are active accounts, it's just we have no idea how they're getting service.
I
Because
was
their
more-
lateral was never shown on televising.
Mhm.
I was more.
So, oh, they are a
They're
customer.
actually coming in the manhole. Rather than in the pipe.
Mm.
I'm more interested in the laterals that we found than in the cat.
And I don't know, because a lot of it's for televising for the second, third times already, so
Yeah, I
we will
can't
see.
speculate with it.
But the manholes, they never mention what's in there, so that's why I got my guys looking to see. See a 4-inch or 6-inch line coming in, somebody's laterals coming in here. That's why it's not accounted for.
The quick and easy way.
What? It's a quick and easy way to do
Farmer put the lateral in the manhole because it's cheaper for him.
it? Yeah.
Any questions or requests for Don for next month?
Thank you.
So unfinished business discussion necessary.
Mike's report.
Oh, okay, so good, Mike. You were looking at me, I just, you know, good thing you didn't throw anything across the table. Mike Sargent from utilities.
The one thing that's popping up is that we are now building for, water that is getting into the Lannon interceptor. And if you look at the flow chart that's attached, on the very bottom, it shows up the infiltration from the Lannon interceptor over being built. And you can see that it's becoming a significant amount of our bill.
Oh my gosh.
All right. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about Richmond School and the firehouse, but when we look at the flows from the interceptor, that's our biggest utility fuel right now. So that's, and then we're only built a portion of it. Menominee Falls is built some, Lannon is built some. So we all share in the cost of this infiltration, but what they're doing is Sussex is measuring flow meters at various stops along the Lannon interceptor, and then they look at how much is flowing into the treatment plant and the amount flowing in the treatment plant that isn't accounted for on any of the flow meters gets billed as infiltration.
And have they notified anybody what their plan of attack is?
Lisbon's got a plan for doing an upgrade, in our CMAR
Mainland.
report. No, Lennon, I'm sorry, Lennon has got a plan, and we put in our CMAR that there is money gonna be needed for doing the maintenance to the Lennon interceptor. But, so anyway, I just wanted to bring your attention to that. And then on the bill that we got from Sussex this month, they have failed to bill for the Richmond School and the firehouse. We let them know. They've issued us a corrected invoice. And then finally, the CMAR was approved by the village board with a resolution. Resolution was filed with DNR to the CMAR before this time.
Now, there was a second one out there, Mike. What was the second one?
CMAS is
Yeah.
coming up, and you want to talk about the name change?
Yeah, so the CMOM's different report, the report's all prepared around the town of Lisbon. Now that's the village of Lisbon, really needs to get updated. So as Mike and I were doing the CMAR, I got a hold of the DNR and asked them, you know, does the CMOM have to be done revised by the time the CMAR gets submitted, and they said, no. You can take your time and budget for updating the CMOM and getting that submitted, so there's no hurry to get that done, but one of those things to keep on the list to do.
It's normally July, isn't it?
Normally it's the same due date as the CMAR, June, but there's gonna be because of the projects at the Sussex treatment plant and the Lannon interceptor, I think there's gonna be more to the report this time than there has been in the past.
All right.
Any questions for Mike? How are we looking budget wise for,
We are, over budget and treatment costs just because of the amount of rain that we've had is flowing through. and repairs were over budget. The pump that we were replaced at the lift station, was not really budgeted, so we're gonna run over on repairs. And then because of the work that's being done in engineering is running a little bit ahead of budget too. Those are the three majors. On the other side of it, our interest income is exceeding the budget, so it's kind of offsetting. the other parts.
Banks paying interest.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
They must be getting money.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mike?
Just to clarify on the busy, bill, that bill was approved by the village board, the June, board meeting.
The overage one?
The one that you were talking about, really served, that bill was approved for payment. of the June board.
Huh? All right, unfinished business, discussion and necessary action regarding quote for air release valves for Richmond Force Main. Don?
This was on your agenda for last month. Kathy had said there was a question on estimated cost for a tanker or a septic truck, and then what our time would be in it. So I got a hold of Fred Septic. That's who we've used in the past with the Richmond School Lift Station. He said the truck getting a guy would be $195 an hour. Talked to Sabo Mechanical, they said they wouldn't be any more than 4 hours, they'd have this done. So worst case scenario, 4 hours, $195 an hour, you're looking at $780. The quote was $3,609.21. $780 for that. I figured just for now, $570 for us. So we'd be at $4,959.21. That is to install one air relief valve.
One?
So $5,000.
And then in their quote, they had, if we installed the second one while they were there, it would be the 1983.67, but, what I failed to grab, and I got an old plan of when the force main was put in. I got marked on there where this air relief valve would go. It's basically where the biggest hill would be on Richmond Road. It's just, if you're coming from the school headed to the east, it'd be just getting towards the apex of that hill. There is an air relief valve on top, but just before you get to the crest of the hill is where they said they noticed the most gas. And then after you get after that hill, there's another air relief a little bit farther down, and then after that, they cut it off to go to the subdivision, so. I don't think I can see putting the second one in anywhere.
So you agree with going into the.
Correct. Yep.
We, recommend to the village board? And make.
Okay, stop me before I have a question before we kind of generate some discussion. What is it we don't do anything?
We don't do anything, depending on what we do, looking at this gravity sewer. We can just continue to chew through pumps every year and a half.
But there's no guarantee that doing this will do it.
Correct.
I just want to make sure that.
That's
Right,
correct.
so that's why I raised the question, because we already have air relief valves in there.
We think.
I think you know that.
What I'm starting to wonder is, like they say, when they designed that force main, they were supposed to put that air relief valve right at the top of that hill. And if that force main didn't go in exactly how they have it drawn on that plan, there could be a pocket of air sitting right where this cleanup is. Which is why Saab was saying when they pulled that cleanup apart, they encountered a bunch of gas there. If there's any type of dip or high point in that line,
Which seems to be probable.
you know,
We could have 10 places where we've got trapped air.
I know that, I guess, what data do we have that says that one is the right answer?
All we're doing is going off of what they opened all the cleanouts up to try to. At that time, the sanitary district wanted them to pull the cleanouts apart just to see what the condition of the force main was. And that's when they pulled these apart, that's where they encountered all this gas right at that location.
So what says that the current air release are even working?
We do maintenance on those, like,
We know they're working?
they go through them twice a year.
But we don't know if there's other places that have trapped air. If we go ahead with this, as we've discussed in several meetings, we may be spending $5,000 for nothing. Or we could be solving a problem for the next couple of years till we get this other sewer in. Or option 3, we don't know.
I'll go to the option 3. What is the proper way to go?
You have to go out there and find out, you have to profile the force main, and which is the costs. We have to dig up the entire force main and see what profile is.
Again, it looks great drawn on paper because it's nice and smooth, it follows the contour of the road. Whether they plowed it in or actually dug it in. You know, it's wavy going through there, that's where,
We don't know.
but I'm not
We'll never
saying,
know.
I'm not guaranteeing this is gonna fix it, this is just based on. Sable's recommendation on what they saw when they put the clean.
It's, the technical term is crapshoot. That's all this is.
Yes, I mean, and you think about it, if you think about it too, okay, so we go ahead and prove this. What is the scientific way to know that we're actually doing the right thing?
The life of your pump. Ultimately, you'll know if the life of your pump is extended because you're hopefully not pumping against the head pressure and lessening the life of your pump.
Okay, so if we're on average burning a pump every year and a half, and we move that now to 2, does that mean we did better?
The
Or,
life of those pumps is supposed to be longer than 2 years.
Should be.
right, that's what I'm saying is if we extend just a little bit, does that mean that worked or they just lasted a little longer? What is the way to check the return on our investment?
There's no way to check.
Right, so to me, it's like,
And we're only looking at, again, because of this other sewer. At most, we'd be talking 3 years, in which case the whole system would go away and we'd replace it with a gravity sewer. You have asked very, very good questions, but the problem with it is, as Jane said, and as Don said, there's no way. No one will ever know unless you dig up that sewer, and why would you, I mean, it's not gonna happen.
When Brabazon installed that new pump. They test pumped it, so they test pumped it with the pumps pumping down the force main. And that's where they struggled, you know. Then they just pumped it right back to the lift station, that's where the pumps could get closer to that 40 gallons a minute and they're pumping freely. So. Even Brabazon is saying there's something, either that force main's plugged or yes, you have gas issues.
but didn't we just clean it out last year? Did we, I thought,
We never.
was it televised a year ago?
You can't tell that force main for all.
Sable took the cleanouts apart because that's what the sanitary district wanted before we wanted them to clean it. They wanted them to take the cleanouts apart and try to see the condition of that force main.
Worst case is that we, in one scenario in my mind, we spent $5,000, we put in this clean out, or this air release. Nothing happens, we just put in the new pump there, that pump only lasts 3 years. If we go with the gravity sewer, we don't care, because we're not gonna use that anymore. So. It's a judgment call. I'm part of the village of Lisbon, whether or not 5,000, and you won't know if you did the right thing. Possibly ever. It may magically solve all the problems in the world. Or it may not do anything and you can't undo it and spend $5,000. To me. I'd like to not do this, see what happens in the next 6 to 8 months with this gravity sewer, and then make a decision. If it's decided by the village not to go with the gravity sewer option for a number of reasons, then we gotta come back to this and say, okay, what's our best chance? But unless you physically dig, in my opinion, unless you dig up that force main, you're never gonna know what you don't know.
Is there a way to televise a force main?
It's, I mean, that thing's probably so built up and full, I don't know what you're gonna see in a three.
Is there
It's only a 3
Three
inch.
is,
is there a way to clean
I
it?
mean, you could have a guy with a hose reel trying to shove it through there, but it's
Long.
so long between the clean outs that there's gonna be nobody.
Nobody's gonna wanna do it. I went through this on a previous project in my former life. A lot of places that don't even wanna mess with it, cause they're afraid they're gonna get their stuff stuck in it. And then they gotta go out on their own nickel and dig it up to get their stuff out of it. We're talking a pipe that's only this big around.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the size of it and then the length of it, we had a hard time even finding anybody that would be able to clean.
Can you dig it? You must not be able to dig it.
I tried doing a 5 inch once and it was like, they just laughed.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Jim?
It's a way of cleaning pipe. It's called digging. It's where you basically send this scouring ball through. And it's supposed to scour.
Oh,
Or a grease pig.
Mm.
That's what they call it.
okay,
So
I think we should wait. Sounds reasonable to me. What do you think?
That's up to you guys. We just had the quote sitting here, so that's why it's for you.
Do we have any idea where this gravity sewer is in the realm of discussion at the board level?
The study we just about have done, we just on Monday got the additional information out of Sussex for their sewer, anything that's east of there. So that's one thing we gotta look at, the final piece of the puzzle we gotta look at. So you'll definitely have it for next month's meeting. I'll have it to you probably a couple weeks ahead of time, and you'll be able to review it prior to the meeting.
So really what we could do is let this go for now, but then knowing what the report says and what the feel for gravity sewer is. And then also we'd be able to put it in the budget for next year and make it a budgeted maintenance item instead of.
we can do it as a recurring agenda item and it's nothing to hurt, just constantly. Right?
Just think it's sometime I'll have to go back and get an updated cost from whatever that is.
A ballpark though, even if we upped it to 5,500 for
Right.
budgeting purposes.
I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So we can either, table this or table to a date in the future or take no action.
Maybe just,
Cause I guess essentially we're gonna have to take no action because this quote's already expired based off of their terms.
Yeah, he was still on it for as far as right now, but if we're gonna table it another month, I'd just reach out to you.
Well, I was gonna say we could table it, but our information's gonna be expired by the time we pull it off the table.
Yeah.
So,
Take it off and bring it back and I'll get an updated quote at the time.
I guess I would make a motion to not approve any work in relation to Sabo Mechanicals presenting quote.
You wouldn't really need a motion for that. You can just take no action.
I guess motion's been made. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Anybody in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is 5-0. Discussion necessary action regarding Brabazon repair / replace quote for sewer pump and recommendation to village board of sand. Don?
So this is for the pump that failed at the nickel lift station. That lift station ultimately pumps to the meter on Plainview. There was a backup pump at Sussex, that's what Brabazon put in that station, so now this, we'd be looking at either repairing the pump that they pulled, which would be the $4,535. or purchasing a new pump for the $7,415 to be the backup that would be left at Sussex for that station. I did check with Mike, I was unable to. The service manager, he's out, I don't know, he's out, I was unable to get in touch with him. But just to find out in terms of freight, sales tax, blah, 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 that would be on top of this. The last pump we got from Bravazon for the Richmond School lift station, I think the freight was about $500. And if you throw sales tax on there. We were to approve something,
There's no sales to it.
well, that's right, your tax exempt.
What
Well,
is it?
if anything, it'd be free.
Yeah, so, but I think either I or somebody asked the question, go around the time before that. Is this pump usable in any other lift station? I thought Candy was gonna ask, or I don't.
It didn't get relayed to me. I could double check that with them.
We talked
I mean,
about that,
yeah, we talked about it, but it doesn't really make.
But this is not for Richmond. I thought we were talking about specifically
This-
for Richmond.
This is Dubnicka.
This is a different.
Yeah, this pump would not go in Richmond School lift station.
So this would just be a backup pump.
This would be a backup pump for that station.
I mean, do they believe that? Or do you believe that, a new pump versus a repair pump? They are equivalent?
And how old is that pump in there?
I'd have to find out.
I guess that's kind of what it was one of my questions too, if it's been rebuilt already, and if so, how many times?
Right.
I do believe we need a backup pump, that's one thing, it's just whether.
Let me, now that I got that, let me find this information. I'll bring it back for July. Is there any other?
Yeah, because if they,
I think I know what to do. I think I'd like to make a motion that we put this pump. And then know in the future, we'll get kind of some of the things like. Right on the top.
like, information. Report.
So we have one to repair at $4,500.
Plus free.
Plus rate.
Where is that one sitting right now?
It's in the shop right now,
In their shop?
in their shop, or is this just the,
For the utility station. Yeah, this has to be at their shop, because they went through it to know what they need to replace, or if it was even repairable, so.
Well, are they asking for another $346 on top of this for what the work they've done already? Which I understand, I mean, nobody works for free, they gotta put food on the table, but I just wanna make sure we recommend the pound to the board. It's not, it looks to me. Or are they waiving the inspection fee if we do one of these two options?
I believe they're waiving the inspection fee if you do one of the two options. If we decide not to do anything and not get it back,
They wanna
they
get
want
paid for it.
346.
Okay. So we're paying for it.
Because you would already got an invoice for them being down here to put the other pump in for now. So yeah, they'd just be looking for their time to go through that pump.
I suppose they probably have posted it wasn't repairable.
Yeah, I mean. They're gonna get their money one way or the other. It's just whether if we don't buy a pump, they want their money. If we buy a pump, they've already got that $346 you're paying for it, we're paying for it anyway. So,
No, I guess what I just said is, if they're not able to reman it, they're probably gonna tell us the $7,400 right away.
Yeah, if they kind of like on Richmond School, if they don't think it's worth rebuilding, you're not getting it later. But
and these pumps sit in Sussex,
yep, the backup pump sits at Sussex.
and somebody goes out there every once in a while and turns them.
Sit in the park. I see them, yeah.
You know. I had a pump manufacturer throw out a pump because it sat at a lift station for a year, because nobody turned it. So that's why I asked the question, some things you remember.
Should this pump be brought back here on our property in the village here? Would that be better? No.
I was just gonna say, who, who's gonna, is this entirely our cost or is this a shared cost?
I think it's all yours.
I think Sussex is just doing the monitoring of these lift stations, so as soon as it goes down, they know. And they get Bravazan on the way right away.
You don't need another thing to start out, yeah. It doesn't do much good. Yeah, for Christmas tree.
And where's their shop at?
Sorry, at the treatment plant.
No, where's Brabazon?
They're out of Green Bay and I forget where their location is down here.
Do we need to, well, I would think that they would know it, like you said, we need to be turned, you know, whatever.
They send us a pump, a piece of paper that says you gotta turn them.
I think I made a motion
I'll second it.
At a cost?
at a cost of $4,535 and
Plus three.
and plus freight.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Just in the future, we can kind of figure out where we're at. And
Well, we'll start doing with the GIS now too, is get the lift station and start adding some of the that information.
Discussion only regarding Richmond School / Fire Department cost split agreements. Mike? Is that you?
I guess, well, I contacted Dennis Fulmer, who was a commissioner for the Lisbon Sanitary District, and he had a copy of the agreement that was dated in 1997. And this apparently, the history of this was that maintenance was not being performed as it should be. And so they wanted to get an agreement that maintenance would be done on a regular basis and contractual agreement as to what maintenance would be done on a regular basis. And then it was agreed that when there was any type of cost, how it would be shared. And that was the purpose, was to resolve issues of debate that had been going on for a longer period of time. So since 1997, this is the way it's been allocated. So any cost related to certain maintenance is 65% for the school and 35% for the thing.
Based upon, at least the way I read the stuff that you provided, Mike. There's nothing we're going to do at this point in time, except renegotiate it. Why would we go through that to get some sense of what we're gonna do with American gravity? So otherwise, we're just spending time and money. Everybody's part of its mind. It's nice to have this money. That's a mess.
On the back of my report, it showed you what we've spent since 2017. My records go back to 2017, so I will go back to what the Boulder County. Oh, how much we've been spending on the food, and almost all of this is split to 65-35.
Yes, even if it's a maintenance cost, that's over $5,000.
Right.
That would still be under the 65-35.
So all been going at 65-35.
I would say,
So, just a hypothetical, this air relief, would that fall under the 65-35?
Anything that's along their force main is under this agreement.
something, but again. So we know what we're gonna do. At least we got the information. We're smarter than we were last month. A lot. Don't like it, but
And has this been verified through the village that these are the all the complete documents, or is this? just-
Kathy went through and picked up.
I did.
You did, okay.
So Mike provided the one that he got from Don and the rest I found on our system.
And Dennis.
I mean,
Or from Dennis, yes, sorry.
whoever decided to make this a 50-year agreement is just, that's a Jim Hamlis thing. I know for sure. I bet my watermelon patch on. So it's. The system wouldn't last for 50 years. So why would you make a 50-year agreement?
It's tying their hands.
All right, does anybody have any questions regarding that? Any requests regarding that? Okay. All right, so was for discussion only, so we'll move on. Discussion necessary action regarding request for speed reduction on Mary Hill Road. Review of related speed study and recommendation to the village board of same. Lieutenant Corey Farrell is here from the sheriff's office. Turn over to you, if you could, can you give us a, I guess, just a brief summary of why we're at this request?
So Mary Hill, we got a couple of these first. Mary Hill, the first one, the most recent speed study we have was from March. I think we discussed this April. I was here at a board meeting talking about similar things. I have no update from that board meeting on Mary Hill, but that speed study, I think you guys all have in front of you. That was done early March from the 1st to the 12th. Our speed study documented 865 vehicles, average speed of 32 miles per hour with a total enforceable violation of tolls. I'm sorry. I just wanted ready to go. I had the wrong one highlighted. I'm sorry. I was going
Trying
on.
to see if we're paying attention.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
That here.
No, Mary Hill, that one was March 26th, April 3rd. 4,000 vehicles, about 25% enforceable speed. So our average speed on that one did come out to 54 miles per hour. Sorry. Too many locations in front of me.
And where was it posted?
It was Mary Hill just south of Walnut.
Hundred and 20 miles an hour over that.
I like that.
Was the fastest. Yeah, so I don't know if that was legitimately a motorcycle going that fast, or if it was
Well,
somehow the machine aired out on that one.
I don't want to. We have 4 subdivisions slated for Mary Hill. One on the south west corner of Silver Spring and Mary Hill, one across the street, which is Vista Run, one down near Walnut and Mary Hill, which we just approved preliminary plat for, and a possibility for one across the street at Richmond and Mary Hill. So I think that fact leads me to think that we should reduce the speed on Mary Hill 35. We're gonna have a heck of a lot more cars, especially when you get close to Silver Spring with Vista Run coming out. And whatever that's gonna be called, Newman's across the street. We have to deal with some stuff down there when we get to that point, but I think the time is to get, and that road is narrow, it's creation. And the vertical alignment is terrible, but we're not gonna reshape God's green earth. So. That's what my feeling is on it.
And if a speed limit is reduced, our general guideline that we'll give our deputies is strong enforcement. We usually do 30 days of warnings and then switch to citations. Because like you mentioned, a lot of that is residential, so it's probably the same people driving through every day, so they should see the signs every day.
Yeah. They're going up to Silver Spring or they're going down to Richmond, most likely, I mean, I've seen enough cars going up to there. That's the reason that I have for reducing the speed limit on Mary Hill.
And at the last meeting, we were talking about actually authority on that. One.
Yep.
Where'd you put it down?
So staff has since confirmed that Lisbon has 100% jurisdiction over Mary Hill Road. And Attorney Macy has confirmed that Lisbon also has statutory authority over the speed limits.
So we got our answer.
Yeah, I guess one thing I thought about with this is. There is only one way of control on Mary Hill, but well, actually, it isn't even on Mary Hill, it's across Mary Hill from Walnut. That's the only one that has the control. So the intersection at Walnut, it's north-south free through. So there's no slowing anything down there by way of a stop sign.
You mean at Walnut and Mary Hill?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't.
So-
Do that, that's,
Well, I guess I'm thinking with the development that's gonna happen in the southeast corner, there's a subdivision going in there. I think the traffic increased volume is gonna dramatically increase potentially on Walnut for people going in and out of that subdivision. So why would we not look at a stop sign there?
I would say. You guys deal with this stuff more than I do. If you believe there's value in that, I still would like to see the speed limit reduced. If you believe. That something at Walnut would help the situation, but it's such a short piece of the whole thing. But you guys have a better sense for this than I ever.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say is changing a speed limit doesn't always change people's behaviors. Because we might go from a 54 mile per hour average speed to a 54 mile per hour average speed in a 35 zone. Right now, we have an average of 9 miles and over the speed limit, we might move it to 19 with no change in behavior.
I'm looking at the concern that I have on the other end of Mary Hill on the north end. With Vista Run coming out and whatever they're calling across the street there, and they're coming out like this. And there's a tremendous amount of traffic when Vista Run gets out to Mary Hill. Coming out on Mary Hill and going north, and where they're gonna come out, where the intersections of whatever Vista Run Street and this other subdivision across the street's going to be. There's a huge vertical problem there going south off of Silver Spring. People are gonna be coming south off of Silver Spring to get into Vista Run, they're gonna come over that hill and dive down in there and go right into Vista Run.
Well, I mean. Sometimes. And if we can remember in recent history, sometimes lowering a speed limit on a road doesn't always. Stop the problem, it actually makes people complain more by way of Hillside, we just lowered. We just lowered Hillside, from 45 to 35, and now we got people complaining that we're causing more of a hazard.
Part of my feeling is, once you start putting all that traffic on that road, people are gonna have to slow down, because people are gonna be trying to turn into those subdivisions. So I think actually the volume of traffic might slow it down just because of all the subdivisions.
We got Celtic Bridge coming out into there right now, and like I said, there's. 3 for sure, possibility of 4th, so that'd be 5 subdivisions plus. The ski hill, plus across from the ski hill, I didn't realize this until about a month and a half ago. There's a large tract of, a sizable tract of land in Sussex. Right at the base of the hill that's owned by one property owner, that there's possibility of that being subdivided. So that would be 6. I mean, if we had our druthers and money was no object, Mary Hill needs to be rebuilt and put out and have the horizontal and vertical alignment change, but I'm not gonna live long enough for that to happen. But there is gonna be a tremendous amount more traffic at Mary Hill.
Yeah, have we put out the DPW boards for traffic studies? Do the speed signs that we have at the DPW?
We haven't put them out at all yet. We still have them shut, but we don't have them out there right now.
Do those track any data?
I thought they do, yeah, they track the speed limits and just, oops, sorry. Yeah, they track the speed limits and everything. Through like, I think it's an app, Joe said he has to check it.
So the study that was done through the sheriff's office was covert. There was no visual representation. I guess I'm not ready to make any kind of recommendation on this. I guess my personal opinion would be is either we look at considering a four-way stop at Mary Hill and Walnut. And also getting the DPW to deploy the visual speed boards. Where it's it's a sign that says 45 miles an hour and then it gives the visual speed and it's interactive with the driver.
Like Sussex has got it going in on the west.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah, I mean, they have them in their school zones, like on Woodside. There's a permanent
If there's.
visual speed one.
People use their own Sussex.
Believe it or not, those actually do give people a good check on
Well, I
it.
tell you, the one that the county put up over by the school over on North Shore Drive, would scare the hell out of you because you're driving along 45 and my wife's brand new car just comes almost to a stop because it says 15. The car recognizes it. And the problem with it is whether it in the middle of August when there's no kids there, all of a sudden you get whiplash from the car slowing. So, I mean, if you believe that would help,
Yeah, I mean, knowing that we haven't done any of the interactive speed boards, I think that can be a 24/7 operation that gives.
does it record the information?
I don't know which ones we have with the.
I
new ones
believe
are,
they
but-
record, 'cause I know Joe in the past that he could see. We look at the numbers or whatnot.
See whether or
And if
not.
they don't report, just let me know, we can put our speed setting out in conjunction with that.
Okay. Perfect.
So are you saying, Mark, that you would, your opinion is to delay this to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to see what this, I mean, we know what the lookout for this development is on the southeast corner. At Walnut. But I don't know what the traffic volume is gonna be with those Sussex subdivisions that are then gonna impact our traffic.
That's a run well. Because there's 300 sometimes.
Yeah, and it may be something where. From Walnut South is applicable at 45. But I don't know, I mean, I guess that this kind of lends to a bigger discussion too of. Are we as lay people the ones that are really appropriate to be messing with speed zones? I mean, people are gonna travel what they're gonna travel. And I know traffic engineers have jobs because of studying traffic and volumes and elevations, road curvatures. I know in my 8 years here, we've actually just moved one speed limit and it was on Oakwood, and the second one was on Hillside.
Yeah.
The first one was fine because it was only 30 to 25, and it really only impacted about 10 houses, but we thought we were doing a lot of good with the Hillside one, and the people objected otherwise.
Where would you
So-
put these boards?
Yeah, I mean, I
Is
think,
there one, we could put up one or one in each direction?
Yeah, we got two of them. So the only issue, if you put them at the bottom. Especially if there's truck traffic for the new subdivision, they're gonna be hauling. But to go up the hill because that's, I mean, even with our trucks, they will die to 20 going up the hill, even if you're hitting it at 55. And we speed up the hill because we gotta get up the hill. So,
We're not gonna get.
and going down the hill, you ain't gonna ride the brakes, you're gonna
Up
smoke
on
the
the
brakes
north
down,
end, we
so.
won't see traffic for subdivisions or next year at the big first part. So we got, this, they're gonna start moving dirt possibly yet this year on this one at Walnut in Mary Hill. They already told us that plan commission. But the other stuff north of there will not happen this year. So all I'm saying is, I'm just curious where you would put them, where they'd be most effective.
I think,
Walnut is in the southern half of Mary Hill. So if we want to do it in the same area where that speed study was, it was in the southern half. I agree with you that the hill, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, cause I mean, you wanna get them going north on Mary Hill before Walnut, 'cause you want. I mean, that'd be a good indicator before they get to the hill, you know, catch the intersection traffic, but then the bottom of the hill, you're kind of. So you have a small hill going to a big hill, so they're gonna be. They're gonna be cooking. I mean, it just, I mean,
Driver.
Which would be worth getting that data.
yeah, so I mean, you may wanna catch them. At the bottom of the small hill and that kind of flat between the big and the small going up it, see what they're at going up the hill, you know? See, I mean, that would be,
Yeah, and then once that subdivision is developed, we could do another speed study and see if there is in fact increased traffic, like you said, that slow people down. Cause I mean, we have that traffic on as well, and 4,000 cars in about a week stretch is decent traffic volume.
That's what, I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing too, we have to consider too is there isn't a lot of crashes on this road. Just in the last 2 years, there's been 4 crashes and 3 of them were deer related. So even slowing traffic down is not gonna reduce the deer. There was one distracted driver that ran off the road by Osblick, but that was a sole vehicle property damage.
There was,
You want to bet alcohol is involved.
That one was no injuries, no fatalities, no alcohol.
there was considerable discussion at plan commission with regard to Archer, or whatever it's called, October Fields, which is Walnut and Mary Hill, regarding traffic and speed and stuff from people in that neighborhood. Celtic Ridge, individual lots, and the people from Partridge for like 2 hours. So I think that if we do something, we'll start the process going, and the people will see that we did here. It was quite a vocal representation.
Yeah, I mean, again, getting that bigger picture ideas, we seem to have a lot of these complaints lately that work its way to the committee. And I've been kind of researching like how more established communities use processes to handle these, and I think we should look to develop a process that complaints, I mean, this is to reduce speed and traffic concerns, but you know, just knowing that there's not even a lot of accidents on that road. You know, we don't have data on how much enforcement was done there, how much citations were issued.
There has to be some threshold.
Yeah,
that we
I mean,
put
just
together, saying
Giving
it meets-
grease to the squeaky wheel every time is not a good approach for, it's just, because once people start finding out it's easy to get speed limits changed, they're gonna start doing it. But we should have a justification and a process set in place to vet these on a staff level first, before they even come to the committee. Because not that I don't love reading traffic data and stuff, but I don't think it's of the committee's time to always consider every complaint.
Be part of the HOAs or the subdivisions. Have
Yeah.
them come in as a group, they can make up their mind. Right, have them, because
So-
you're hearing a squeaky wheel, and you're not hearing the other people, where you got 30 houses in a place, so at least you get 30 votes one way or another.
Yeah, I guess I would caution against that because they don't have any governmental authority. And now you're asking them to, I mean, I don't disvalue their input, but I think having a standard process for the entire community is the best angle to take on it. Because not every community problem is covered by HOA. And I would think in our village, there's not a lot of HOAs.
And I think the 2 hours at a planning commission is more about not my backyard.
Right.
Instead of actual ballot. They would have had those same things put in place, you know, when that subdivision. part of the- It's just, I think there has to be some standard that we're looking for or something.
And I mean, and and Joe can speak for this, at the planning commission level, it's part of your guys' process where you guys can consider a traffic impact analysis that is probably more appropriate.
I was just gonna ask that, if that's something you look at with some of these bigger subdivisions, requiring that of the developers and stuff.
And we'll see that come up when we get to the north.
Yeah, I don't think it's a requirement right now, but it's definitely something.
At least it gives you guys the information on when somebody does come forward, that it's been a little bit studied.
Well, it always comes down to my experience in plant commission over many years is, yeah, we should do X, Y, and Z. Then the question is, who's gonna pay them? So I think that that's a logical idea.
All right, so. What is everybody's flavor for this one? Table 2 or?
I just think tabling the,
Do we have any staff direction?
Well, how long would it take you to put that stuff up on? Would you get it up? by
Signs and
July?
everything?
Yeah,
I mean. Was there
And
two,
get-
there's two, was there 2 or 4 speed limit signs up there?
and then get the data and get it back, so we wouldn't have it back for the July meeting, we wouldn't have it till the August.
I mean, a month, you have to run.
Yeah.
So,
Cause you gotta get them up, we gotta get the data, we gotta look at the stuff, we gotta get on the agenda, so it'd be August, which I think is reasonable. So if we take.
I was almost thinking 3 months.
Huh?
I was almost thinking 3 months.
Once the signs are up, you're gonna want a little bit of time to
Yeah.
get true and accurate, data. See if it changes the data over time.
September meeting.
Table to September meeting.
Is that a motion?
I make a motion to table this until the September meeting so that the Director of Public Works can put up the speed. Speed boards.
All right, this motion's been made by Jane, seconded by Gus. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? 5-0 carries to table. Discussion and necessary action regarding requests for speed controls on Batterjohn. Review of related speed study and recommendation to the village board of same. So, just a history on this one, on Batterjohn. This has come before the committee before. Residents have requested,
Some residents.
some residents have asked for traffic controls along Batterjohn, specifically speed controls such as bumps, humps, or tables. Sheriff's Department conducted a speed study in the subdivision prior to the April 17th meeting. When the Public Works Committee originally considered the request, Lieutenant Farrell stated that the study indicated a low enforcement need and minimal to no violations were present. Committee requested that a new study be conducted and an updated study was at the end of April. And that study is,
That speed study was conducted April 19th to the 26th, immediately following that meeting. Traffic was dropped a little bit, it was down to 3,000 vehicles, and the enforcement or enforceable violations dropped as well. It went from 4% to 2%. Average speed dropped from 32 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour.
Can you remind me, didn't we put, or aren't there stop signs on that or down?
4.
Yes, that is a cut through from Silver Spring to MD, and there's a stop sign at every intersection.
One at our Devon Court, there's one at Panada, and there's one at the top of the hill. There's one at every intersection. Denver.
just a note, in the last 2 years, there was no accidents there. Anywhere on Batterjohn.
And the larger complaint that we got after the last one was truck enforcement, that there was heavy trucks going through. I don't know if it's related to all the construction in the area. Our deputies were given direction to enforce trucks in that area. We don't have an answer on how many stops were made and what happened. But that information was also laid out, that even though there might not be a speed problem for this, there was a request to enforce dump trucks because they're not allowed going through areas. So that direction was also given out to deputies.
There is truck traffic going through there. I would say 2/3 of it is cut through between Silver Spring and Marine Drive. There is a tremendous amount of construction going on in that subdivision, by half the residents or more that are in that subdivision. So that you can't kick them out. And there's still,
Isn't there a few houses on Sonata that are being built?
there's 3 more houses going in on Fanad. There's 10 more is filled up. There's 3, 4 more lots that are going on Better John Drive when you get to that are still to be built. So the subdivision is not built. But there's landscaping trucks going through there every day of the week, 7 days a week. So I understand why they're saying that, that's true. But it's a cut through and that's where they are.
And legally, can you just say no trucks?
There's a big sign up there right now, it's a big 6-ton sign on there that hasn't gone down in 2.5 years.
Doesn't have-
But they apparently cannot read.
We can enforce no through trucking, but if they're coming into complete business within that zone, then they can legally.
Correct.
So if they're using that as a cut through, yes, we can enforce it. If they're doing work within that zone, then that is.
Okay.
But you'd
It
have
is
to
exemption.
be out there
Yeah,
12 hours a day.
I think their initial complaint was on safety of their children.
And it was one neighbor that was complaining to the majority of it. We sat out in front of that resident's house. Modern stop signs, very, very few violations, and the speed studies were done with 2% enforceability.
And by the way, that neighbor is moving.
Really?
Next month.
But I guess, my inclination here is to say that the conditions have improved with, the actions that have been taken. The data shows that the enforceable violations have decreased. And, the study shows that there's a low enforcement rating and actually these are really good numbers. So I guess I don't have any inclination to do any kind of traffic controls other than what's already deemed appropriately in place. Is that kind of what we're thinking? All right. Somebody want to make that a motion or otherwise I can?
I'll make a motion to deny the request for traffic controls along Better John Drive and recommend the same to the village board.
Made by Jane, anyone want a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Plus, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right, the discussion necessary action on the request for speed controls on Walnut Grove, review of related speed study and recommendation to the village board of same. All right, so just, I've been engaging with a few people in regards to this. They talked about being at the meeting tonight. I'll just go back through the rationale and background. Residents requested in the fall of 2023 regarding the speed limit and high volume of traffic on Walnut. Sheriff's Office conducted a speed study in the subdivision on October 2023 when the PWC originally received the request. The committee has weighed a number of possible options over several meetings and last discussed the issue at the April 2024 meeting. At that time, PWC requested a targeted enforcement and a follow-up speed study done by the Sheriff's Office. A new speed study was conducted in late April, and Lieutenant Farrell will tell us about the results.
So the second speed study was completed. This one had a significant drop in traffic. The speed study was done in that same time frame, April 19th to April 26th. The number of vehicles dropped from 940 to 332. Enforceable violations dropped from a total of 309 to less than 1%. So it was going from 33% to 1%. Average speed is now 24 miles per hour. There was a request from a concerned citizen. And it was forwarded to us through Kathy to request a third speed study, just due to the drastic shift. Just to make sure that it wasn't on here. I can't speak on whether one would be more accurate or the other, just based on that was the data that we were provided on that. In terms of the directed patrols, we have had multiple instances of directed patrols in that area. Including a couple of traffic stops. I don't have the outcomes of those, whether they were citations or warnings, but traffic stops have been conducted. I'm gonna instruct our deputies to continue their active patrols and to ensure that they are all getting logged in our CAD system. So that way we have direct numbers of how many times they're out there. And then we're gonna follow up with, like I said, that additional speed study in that same location to kind of try to corroborate either the first or second one, just with how big of a shift it was.
All right, thank you. I have been corresponding with two citizens, Dan Eggers and Dave Pond, who are in the Walnut Grove or connecting court area. I guess looking at these numbers, the traffic volume was largely different. I tried to think of any artificial influences that would have been present. Only thing I could think of is on Ainsworth there, that Village of Merton subdivision. I don't know if it was drawing a lot of popularity because lots were still available and people were coming through to look at it, but I thought also too, why would somebody coming to the area to look at a lot be speeding? I can't really see that as a.
And in October, was that when Parade of Homes was going on? Because there was a Parade of Homes house in that area. I don't know what that significant of a draw.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of traffic for those.
There's a number of new houses on the Eastwood, within the last, I think it's 6 years, within the last 3 or 4 years, which people, if they're coming from, as an example, Hartland, that's how they're gonna get there. They're not gonna go down and come in from the west, they're gonna come down here and drive through here. I drive out there, you'll see there's
And with additional subdivisions going as part of the Health West subdivision.
Yeah, I mean, I guess somebody coming from Heartland though, I think their natural inclination is to take Winkleman. Somebody coming from Pewaukee, Lisbon would be coming from the east, I think. I don't see Walnut Grove as a.
It is a direct shot. I don't recall if there's any sort of traffic device. I don't know if there are stop signs through there. It's a straight shot.
There's no traffic controls on any of the courts.
I think that if you look at the map that's in our packet for Walnut Grove, you see that eventually to the west of there won't be a connected street from Heartland. Between there and Winkleman, it's that whole area up there. That's gonna be,
Are we gonna connect through to that Terry Lane?
well, whatever that's called. Yeah, wherever that stub street is, that will be connected to Heartland. Maybe that's why they put it in.
Let me just see if it came up on the county website yet.
Do you want me to pull that up on Zoom, share the screen? Everyone can see.
Mine?
No, I can.
Oh, sure. Probably includes, but
Sure, that's why they put that stub street to the west. Because it's gonna-
no, actually, it's not going to. It looks like the stub for Terry Lane is not gonna connect, because it looks like on the Heartland side, they're gonna treat it as a cul-de-sac. That's gonna terminate inside their village. Yeah.
When did they do that?
So if you look at, zoom actually out a little bit. And it'll pop up with the cul-de-sacs, keep going. One more zoom out. A little bit more. So I don't know,
Winkleman is gonna be rerouted.
on mine, it shows there's three cul-de-sacs inside of there. It's not popping up on yours.
So this is gonna go through.
Right. It's gonna go through the old horse farm and it's gonna reconnect down on the page.
Yep.
Mhm.
But on the,
But Terry Lane is also marked right here. So that may in fact go through. I can't tell. You know what? We probably can.
on mine, it's showing that there's an entrance with a split boulevard road that comes off of K at the south end of that property, and then there's two exits on the Winkleman, but nothing back towards Lisbon.
No, nothing.
So Karen, what do you think you're gonna do the?
We had another request for speed study, so I believe they're both out right now, so probably within the next 2 weeks. As we mentioned, we've got a lot of speeding complaints lately.
Or we just wanna table this one until the seventh. Speed study is done.
When is the next meeting where we go with that?
What's next?
No, we're the third one, so.
Will be July 17th.
Thank you.
And if you send it to Kathy the week before, then she can get it to me for packets. Perfect.
You could table it if you want to request some action. Unless,
We'll have more information.
I mean, the speed study's already been requested, so. We could, who wants to make it?
Make a motion to table, Walnut Grove speed study and traffic concerns to July 17th.
Motion's been made by James, seconded by Mr. Everly. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? Hearing none, 5-0. Discussion necessary action regarding a request for stop signs at Harvest Ridge subdivision and recommendation of the village board of same. Number of residents have been, a number of requests from residents have been received asking for stop signs or other traffic controls in the Harvest Ridge subdivision. Sheriff's Office conducted a speed study in the subdivision prior to the May meeting and updated. Study was conducted in early June. Public Works Committee considered the request in May and were evenly split. This item is brought back for consideration by the full committee. What was the? I didn't hear the discussion for being split last time. What was that?
Believe me, my. Motions. Application was.
Mhm.
What was the I guess, what was the opposition positions?
I thought there should be a stop sign.
Okay, Linda, do you remember?
We're talking about Harvest Ridge. I think we should discuss it.
Harvest Ridge is under construction right now.
Well, looking at our speed study results on that one, it is, shorter roads with more winding roads. So I think our traffic count is probably gonna be the most beneficial for this, because we found that the average speed is 20 miles per hour in the 25 zone. So traffic is going significantly under the speed limit, and we found 0 enforceable violations in terms of speed.
I haven't gone through there for a while.
Me either, I would like to go through there.
There's only about a third of the homes and
I thought they were getting cut through traffic, so I thought that was part of it in the last.
but if you look at where they come on K, there's no direct route with K up the Ainsworth. You gotta,
Yeah, you'd have to go on Green Meadow.
And that's just down the road from Walnut Road, so I think it's probably similar.
Was there any construction that was on Winkleman that caused this problem? I guess I'm just thinking of it now.
there's stuff at the corner of Winkleman between Ainsworth and Merton. The village of Merton, there's two subdivisions going in there.
Right, but was like the road of Winkleman closed or something that
You know,
people were
everywhere.
scattering for optional routes?
The Winkleman will eventually go away when it approach the northwest corner of Winkleman and K. It's already planted.
It's just getting rerouted.
Yeah,
Do you think we should wait until there's more growth in the area? I don't know.
I think I was thinking that I thought there should be a stop sign in the bottom of Harvest Ridge.
is that where the T intersection is?
Is that the one, that's the
So,
one,
yeah, right there.
and then Crispin Cloyd? Is this not the one that Kathy said the developer was gonna put one in?
The developer is willing to pay the cost on this one, I believe.
Just see.
Can't just arbitrarily put it in.
We probably will get a increase of traffic in there once Autumn Court actually connects through to Basham, because then it'll go right into that subdivision just north of there, but that's not currently. completed.
Is there any, do you know if there's any controls on the Crispin course?
I don't believe there's controls anywhere in Harvest Ridge.
I can't say I've ever driven through there, but looking at Google Maps quick on a satellite view, I don't see anything posted.
Guess I'd feel better if I drove through there. Cause I didn't.
Don't know.
Hmm?
It's filling up.
The last time?
Subdivision is filling up. I mean, it's,
Mhm.
there's a lot of construction up there.
So then, would we also have, are we sure there's not one on Crispin Court exit? I mean, it looks like Google's a while back, but I would imagine they would have already put it in there.
I'm not for
Oh.
sure.
It's a developer said he's gonna put a sign there.
They were gonna pay for it, they were.
Right. Pay for it, okay.
Hopefully, he or she doesn't just go out there and plunk in a sign.
Yeah.
Without giving some kind of like.
There's- It's Harvest Ridge.
Yeah, I guess I'm
There's a
I'm
stop sign.
just visually,
Right.
I'm struggling with the fact that if we put one on the Harvest Ridge northbound. Now you're letting a court not have a stop sign and. Really, when people come to courts, they think the court's gonna stop first and the person on the main street's not gonna have to stop.
Nick just said that there's one at Harvest Ridge.
There's what?
There's one on Harvest Ridge Drive and Autumn Run, I know. There's one right there.
Northbound.
Yeah,
Coming out of the
yeah.
cul-de-sac.
Not coming out of the cul-de-sac, it's just the Harvest Ridge Drive that comes off K, coming to Autumn Run there. I know the stop sign there for Harvest Ridge.
It should be on Harvest Ridge, not Autumn. What's the big one that's the
This big long one here, or this one,
Green Meadow.
that's Green Meadow.
That's the one. Oh,
We're talking about the intersection over by Crispin Court.
yeah.
Yep, so that's over here.
Right
I
there.
mean, there's a street sign as far as Crispin, Harvest Ridge and Autumn, but there's no stop sign.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, you sign the intersection,
Yeah,
that's what they want.
the Google Maps image that's on there is from November 22.
Right. And there's already houses in there, so.
That's where they had the parade. So they built all those houses. So that's right.
Well, it's either to put stop signs or not. I'm surprised it didn't go in through the planning process.
Mhm.
Do you know, I mean, Don, you may not be familiar with this, but why would they have not put it there?
It's up to the developer.
Sometimes signs are included in site plans, sometimes they don't. And it's not a discussion item or planning commission most of the time as far as saying.
It's not.
Correct.
No.
No, it's not.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a requirement you guys can definitely obviously put on, them, but.
I mean, their complaint is that there's a walking path. There's a new house being built that obstructs. I'm guessing that's this open lot on Google Images on the southeast corner.
Southeast corner of,
I think they're saying that the traffic coming out of Crispin Court is now
Oh.
obstructed by that lot where your cursor is.
right here.
I mean, it seems appropriate to me. I would not just put one. I would put three.
Yes.
I
To me, you need a controlled intersection. I understand what they're saying. At least they have a walking path as opposed to most of our subdivisions. don't have one.
Mhm.
So at least they can't say kids are out on the street getting run over by cars. So I can see what they're talking about there, but if we're going to do that intersection, then we need to have three, not one.
Right.
And
So
then,
one on Harvest, Ridge, and then what's the next road down again?
Harvest Ridge, Autumn Run and Crispin Court.
Yeah. No, are you talking more?
You're talking about Green Meadows right here.
Yes,
Yeah, this is Green Meadow Road, right where it hits Autumn Run.
and
And this is Harvest Ridge, where it hits Autumn Run.
I don't think you need one in the court though, do you? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, 3 stop signs at that other intersection, which includes the court.
Okay.
So three-way stop here.
Okay.
3-way stop there.
Okay.
That would address their concerns of the walking path, corner house, and the right angle turn going to. And then the rest of it's gonna be whatever this subdivision brings up with, as it goes up. I mean, this isn't as opposed to like Walnut Grove was straight shot,
Right,
bang. This, you gotta go
yeah.
through the serpentine streets and get all the way up there.
Okay, so we want to approve or deny the request?
I would like to see a three-way stop at that.
Motion is to approve and install through a stop sign intersection at Harvest Ridge and Crispin Court, and to invoice Newman for the costs associated.
Yes.
Thank you. And does anyone want to second that?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Dan. Other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 No, that's great. I was gonna say, I can see them coming back and want one of that other one that we just mentioned, but we'll have to see. Okay. Yep. Oh, nice.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
See you next month. We're gonna have to put your name up to them.
Yeah.
All right, new business review discussion and necessary action regarding Richmond School plans to address ongoing utility issues and recommendation of village board of same. Don?
We talked about this a little bit, buildings and grounds.
Microphone.
Sorry. Building and ground superintendent no longer there, so I will reach out, contact Newman, get him up to speed where we're at. Then have a discussion about scheduling a meeting to go through roof drains, dye testing, smoke testing, and televised everything at this point. One other thing I did is I reached out to Katie Shaw about putting a flow meter in that station. A temporary flow meter. And they quoted me a ballpark price for a month of $3,600.
Ain't gonna be cheap.
And they monitor that every 2 weeks, they go pull the data. Send it to us, but that would, and that takes a reading about every 5 minutes. That would at least give us an idea Saturday and Sunday, do we truly have flow, do we have flow,
3,600 is for 1 month?
1 month.
Which they would pay 65%.
Correct. So it's not on the agenda, but that was just an option I contacted. So it's another way to see what we got. And I don't know, do we want to wait until school's in session?
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in doing it now.
Do you have a feel for what smoke testing would cost?
That I don't, I'd have to, I think it'd probably depend on how much. What do we all got there? If I had to send them the plans of the school or what,
I mean, that's their cost, 100%.
their building.
I mean, we're gonna have to either get complete cooperation on that, or we're gonna have to force them on some authority.
Definitely what I'd like to do first, go inside there with them. Cause like I say, the one time we were there, I was up on the roof, saw a roof drain, I went down and I swear I came inside the building, went right in the floor. So,
I'd be more inclined to go to the smoke testing or dye testing. Or the flow meter. Thanks.
but we can push it through there this summer. And there's one school back in session, maybe in the fall or following spring.
I don't think they've got summer school up through this summer. When they could have. I mean, the last couple of years they have. The reason I say that, they just redid their parking lot last week, so I went down to one of them.
Okay, nice.
Is it possible that you notify Kathy when you're gonna, I guess, make that meeting with the new superintendent, just so we can,
Yeah,
You're talking about not the new superintendent.
Not
You're talking
not
about
the superintendent, the buildings and grounds.
what, yeah, whatever
I
they
don't
call
even
it.
know if they hired somebody. All I got out of it was he's no longer with the school district.
Maybe we can ask Kathy, just so.
So I can reach out to the school, find out. Make the initial contact.
Do we have any ongoing issues to address with this?
No, I think we just need to have it on the agenda for next month.
For purpose of this hearing an update, or?
Right. I like to hear Don's report on his meeting with the maintenance. Or get anywhere, this guy has some, he or she has got any clue what's going on. Right?
Then put it on the agenda after.
Yeah, 'cause he may not-
Next month.
They may not make that connection before July.
Well, then we just. We'll have to do it next month.
Yeah, you know, it's able, it's not happening.
I guess if we don't have any specific issue, I would be not in favor of tabling it unless we know when it's gonna happen, because otherwise it's just gonna sit there. I guess if we have any items for the future agenda relating to this, just contact me and I'll get them put on the agenda, or email Madam Clerk and she can put them on the draft and I'll look at them at that time. So I'm hearing no action on 7A. Okay.
Right.
No action on 7A. 7B, special necessary action regarding mower, radial work, and strobe puck install and recommendation of village board. Nick?
Yep, so we received our new tractor, like I said, we got from Surway, and we do not have strobes on it. And we talked to Archie, who basically owns Surway, because he did the mower training with us, and we kind of asked him like for putting strobes in, like what they kind of recommend for brackets or where to put on it. And he kind of like looked back and he's like, oh, you guys don't even have them on here, and he said it's gonna be a pain for us to do it because with the new tractor, they have like a GPS in there for like farmers for planting and everything, that all the wires are ran up in the roof. You gotta drop the roof on it. He's like trying to figure out which wires to splice into to get power. He's like, it's gonna be difficult. He's like, we don't have the wire schematics and everything to follow, and let alone do we have time to run strobes and lights for a lot of things right now. And he said we would have put them on, obviously for a charge, you know, when we got it built, they would have put it on, because they know all the wires that run to everything, they know it all, they do it every day. And to put a two-way radio in, that's the same exact thing, you gotta drop the headliner down, you gotta run the wires and everything, so. It's a new tractor too, so that's really, we don't like to do it a whole lot, but that to get done for the new tractor, because right now there's no strobes on it while we're mowing, and kind of need, and I contacted them to give me a quote. And I'm still waiting. It's been like 3 weeks. I've contacted them twice, and Archie contacted the guy that's supposed to give me it. He copied me in the email and nothing. So I don't have a number.
You don't wanna be out there at the shoulder, cutting weeds without lights.
That's kind of the hard thing right now, is that
And I can't.
we don't have strobes. So I don't know why I know in the past. When we got new equipment, usually we ran our own strobes and everything, you know, new pickup trucks, we run it, plow trucks, we do our own radios on, that strobes are already ran, but a lot of the equipment, we usually used to run it. Well, problem is it's getting harder and harder to start dropping headliners on these things now and finding which wires you connect to. I mean, we got mechanics, we don't have John Deere mechanics, we don't have Cat mechanics, so we don't have all the same things that they have. And it costs money. We gotta get certain wire Deutsch connectors, however we do it, you know, so that all adds up. So I'm still waiting on a number to get back from him because he was supposed to.
So is this on the 2023 6105E mower?
Yep.
Wouldn't it be
So-
more efficient, Nick, for have. Get the money for a second,
Mhm.
to have them do it as opposed to
Oh.
your guys
Oh, hands down.
try and figure out.
It should be turnkey and go when we get it, instead of us
So if there's a problem,
messing around with a
Yeah.
week in the shop trying to figure it out. And you know, stuff happens when you take apart new vehicles, clips break, you know,
Yeah.
what, you cut the wrong wire, you're stripping wire, you know. I mean, I'm not as good as the guys that do it, they're very good at our shop that do it, but at the same time. I mean, we're mechanics and everything, but we're not that specific mechanic, so.
Is there any other option other than going to back to the John Deere dealer and having this?
So it's not John Deere we have to go through, we have to go through Surway, who is the mower builder. So we bought the tractor bone stock, you know, it's just a tractor to go out and do its normal thing. We take it to Surway and they put on all the mowers and they run all the hydraulic lines, and they're the ones that's supposed to do the strobes and everything. And that wasn't in the bid for it to get done, so, cause usually we do it ourselves. Well, he basically said you're gonna have a nightmare doing it.
Okay, it's what I'm getting at, I don't know where the tractor was purchased from.
Mid-state.
Mid-state.
Are they in a position to do it?
No.
Probably not, cause that, I mean, unless we ordered a strobe through them to put on it, then they would be, you know,
What
in
I'm
charge.
getting at least you have a basis of comparison between A and B, what the heck this is gonna be. What
Yeah.
I'm concerned about is somebody starts hacking into this tractor who isn't John Deere, and now we've got issue with warranty
Yeah.
on the tractor.
I'm sure that they're between the two of them, that Surway and John Deere, I'm sure there's some sort of fine line because they weld on the frames on them to put the whole undercarriages on them and put the hydraulic tanks on them, so I'm sure. But I'm pulling the headliner, I'm sure they have it,
Yeah.
it's covered between the two.
And I'm guessing they use service warranty.
I'm just looking back through my notes, when we originally had this discussion, the two-way radio, the decals, the strobe lighting was all gonna be done in-house, and we put in $1,500 into our proposal at that time. I don't think there's any problem with doing decals on our own,
Yeah, we could, that would,
but I guess what I'm hearing is you're just looking for. You're gonna be looking
Once
for
I get
approval
the-
once you get the quotes.
yes, and I was expecting to get the quote
So-
like 2 weeks ago, so.
We originally thought. With our own staff time, the $1,500 would cover that, but hearing that it's not a staff tackable problem. Additional.
I can't believe that we could put strobes on that tractor for 15.
We bid it out, but you have to remember, everything that we had in the $1,500 was removing staff time, because we already paid for that.
Yeah, I understand. What I'm getting at, I mean, to replace a lens on the front of my headlight on my truck for crying out loud is $2,800 for a piece of plastic, so. I know you don't know until you get the numbers, but I'm thinking it's gonna be outside the $1,500 allowance we provided for all of these things, including the strobes.
Yeah,
So I'm
so,
thinking it's gonna be closer to more.
yeah, so it's gonna be the same as Merton, 'cause Merton did the same strobe kit on theirs. So he's basically giving me the same exact, supposed to, still waiting, like I said, the same kind of light kit with the brackets and everything, 'cause it's a plastic roof too, so it's
So you know when
not,
he's gonna get back to you?
I can ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we already authorized $1,500 in, equipment for this, so. Anything above that would need to be.
Yep.
Brought back, but.
Yep.
And can we?
We don't plan on,
As us to get this going.
Yeah.
Directly to the board to make the decision. What I'm worried about is somebody's out there cutting weeds on a freaking shoulder without lights. And I'm more worried about waiting for another month.
Well,
yeah,
it's gonna be actually 2 months, because. Well, it'll be a month and a half.
yeah, so our plan was to get the first cut done with the new mortar. And then after the first cut, hopefully get the quote and everything, get whatever scheduled out to get, drive it up there. Or trailer it up there, drop it off and have them do their thing. So we get for the second cut.
I'm just trying to buy.
Yeah.
Have to come back here and go.
No.
I think,
yeah,
I mean, me personally, unless you come back and tell me that. You know, it's like,
It's ridiculous.
it's some ridiculous price, but you're gonna have to make something work, and I think. In our, in our budgeted monies, you can do this on a staff level, I don't even think we need any committee or board action.
I agree. I think it's a safety issue.
I guess I'll make a motion to. Approve staff. Take care of, these 3 items and do it on a staff level with the budgeted. And authorized money.
I'll second it.
Motion made by myself, and seconded by Mr. Everly. Any discussion further?
What just, what?
Can you clarify your motion so I know what to?
Hurt the warranty.
I almost want to take no
It
action
won't.
on it because
shouldn't.
it's already budgeted, it's already been approved in a different motion, so. That's why I'm not gonna give a dollar amount because it's already been approved.
Yeah,
I guess I'll just do this. I'll rescind that motion if the second's fine with it. And I'll just say I'm gonna take no action. Because it's already at a staff level, I wanna leave it there.
Okay.
If Nick gets a quote back for $5,000, he's gonna bring that to us anyways.
We'll put candles on there.
Yeah.
I will say those new lights make a heck, I never would believe that. But when they came through our subdivision at 2 o'clock in the morning with those green and yellow lights, holy Christmas, I thought the aliens were landing in my phone.
So, all right, moving on in the agenda, C. Discussion necessary action to award 2024 crack fill bid and recommendation to the village board of same.
All right, so we got two companies that bid it out. We have Thunder Road and Farner. Thunder Road came in cheaper by $1,000 something, and obviously Farner was 99,000. We do have $100,000 as our budget for crack fill and mastic and all that type of stuff.
$100,000 just for crack fill, no seal?
I believe that would be for chip seal. I'm the top, I'll get to that, I guess,
Okay.
when from what I know from I talked to Kathy, I don't really know the whole plan, I guess, but so the crack fill and spray patching and all that's within budget. I have in there some spray patching, so we do in-house masticking, which I learned at the county, and now we do it with the crew that we have here. We do our own mastic and everything. So spray patching is a little more, it comes out of basically a gun, I guess, and it sprays down a liquid tar, and then you coat it with rock on top. So you can cover way bigger alligator areas. You can fill it kind of as much as you want. So for more rutted out roads that we have coming up, or that we want to do this year, I thought that would be a good alternative instead of masticking it all. And then obviously it's a normal crack filler. Thunder Road does not do spray patching, they do mastic. That's their way of their spray patching, I guess. And I like to see spray patching done by like Farner, so that's just my opinion. And we had Thunder Road here last year to do some crack filling. And I didn't think they did the best job, in my opinion. I saw cracks. I mean, it wasn't my job to say anything back then, but when they're doing Plainview, I saw cracks that were missed, and we seen rubber come up from the crack they previously just put in, so I don't know if it's as quality of a job. Now things have changed. It could have just been a weird scenario. I don't know, but
How long have they been around? I never heard of them.
Farmer?
oh, Farner's been around for a while. Thunder Roads, I think, is fairly new. They're out of Waukesha. So they are local, but I've also been making a relationship with Bill from Farner. He actually came out, and me and him actually had a conversation about something. He kind of showed me some things, and we went out and actually checked out some roads and get his expertise on things and kind of taught me some things. So like I said, Thunder Road is cheaper. Farner's a little more expensive, but you know.
I'd rather see Farner do it because Farner's been around since the old Lanes of the Ark, and they're gonna be here tomorrow.
And
Yeah.
we have history with them.
Yep.
Joey
And
used
for
to
the
know.
difference in price.
Yeah, it's not much really. It's
I'd
not
like
much,
to
and
see in the future, when we get bids in the current, included in the packet is the pre-qual statement. So we can see something about these people
you know,
on bids.
so and for the roads that are getting crack filled, I mean, I don't know if you want me to read them all off, but the roads are gonna get a little more attention, definitely the ones we wanna chip seal / micro slurry. Again, I can go through micro slurry once we have time after we're done talking about this crack fill if you want.
If there's only 100, I'm just confused. You said it's $100,000 in the budget. So we're over $100,000?
Kathy, no, not for crack fill, no, but Kathy, I believe, I mean, Lisa might be able to tell me if she heard elsewise, but the 168, she was gonna go through a capital. Something through capital for that, I believe.
Yeah, I
That
believe
was the
that,
plan, 'cause it was leftover money from something.
I believe that was carryover that was put into capital for that from
Not
last year.
Yeah.
Coding this cap.
Yeah, and I mean, I can explain kind of micro slurry why. Kind of, I'm gonna try that this year. versus everything being chip sealed. You guys.
So what is the recommendation for seal coat? Is that?
So for seal coat, you got Scott's and you got Foreigner. And again, I'm not gonna just choose I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm a all out Foreigner guy, but I feel like if you do Foreigner for crack fill and the spray patching and everything, and they do it, the chip seal and micro slurry, you're not gonna have the issue of, well, the people that mastic this or chip seal, that's why it's not sticking. You know, it's the one company doing the whole 9 yards. You can hold them to it if something comes up. There's no pointing fingers with anything. Scott's Foreigner does their own micro slurry, like they have their own equipment that does. I know Scott's farms it out for that. So, and the reason why doing the micro slurry costs more than just a standard chip seal is a micro slurry. It's a black, it's like a slag basically. It's black and it self levels. So if you have roads that do have little imperfections and everything, it actually levels it out. It can go up to, I want to stuff, they said like 3/8 or a 1/4 inch, it can level out to. So it's going to help improve the ride. Where we do plan on micro slurring is the golf course subdivisions here. The curb and gutter and chip seal makes a mess, as we all know. We get a lot of calls about, especially in subdivisions. That's why we have never chip sealed a subdivision here, because there's been lots of complaints about it. So the micro slurry is there's no mess, and you actually get more poundage per yard of material that actually sticks to the, I guess, to the road, I guess you could say, versus a chip seal. You end up losing some of that material once you sweep it and gets driven off. So there's been a lot of benefits to the micro slurry. It's cleaner, it's black, it's also gonna help melt in winter for road temps. But also chip seal is cheaper, messier, and it's also a little more, it's not as brittle as a micro slurry. Crack fill, not crack fill, sorry. Chip seal, it has a little flex to it when they put down the hot tar adhesive stuff when the chips go on. There's more of it's like a membrane. It kind of flexes a little more. Micro slurries are going to be a little more brittle, so you are going to get surface crack, but it doesn't mean water is going to get through and work its way through the crack if you have everything sealed properly and, you know, crack filled and masticed and everything. Those micro cracks aren't going to do anything. So that's why, you know, it's going to be more expensive doing more micro slurry. So that's the plan for the subdivisions here, but Woodside would get a chip seal on it just because it's open road. You can make a mess out there, I guess you can say. It doesn't matter. The main road doesn't matter, you know. So, and that one's, everything will be ready, you know, everything's been crack filled, mastic, flex patched beforehand. So all the proper steps for a top coating of either a chip seal or micro slurry will be ready to go. You know, and it's loud. You know, so it depends on the size aggregate you use. You know, they use a bigger aggregate for a main road and use a smaller one for subdivisions, but it's quieter. And I'm kind of just, you know, not saying giving it a try, because and deep down I feel like it's gonna turn out really well, but we haven't done any maintenance on subdivisions. We haven't ever chip sealed or micro slurred or anything, or GSB 88 any subdivisions. And our subdivisions are fairly big here, and they're gonna cost a lot of money to repair over the future. And if we don't do anything to get anything on top of them, you know, I think we're gonna be, you know, gonna fall behind on that stuff. I know Joe didn't like it because chip seal is just dirty. You get a lot of complaints. You gotta leaf below driveways and everything. I know it's a pain. Yeah, it's
people's cars.
Exactly.
It's chipping stuff out and it just doesn't last.
You know, so that's my kind of explanation on everything.
So I guess what I'm trying to wrap my head around, so did both these companies in the seal coat and crack fill pre-qualify, like? Aren't they both gonna be responsible bidder? So wouldn't we have to take? Thunder Road for,
Not if they weren't impressed with prior year's work.
If you specify a
Yeah.
material and the way that you put it down, you have just not bought, you have now bought the warranty, not the contractor, because he's doing what you told him to do. So you're not gonna be able to use the warranty by saying, as an example, you told me to use seal coat and it only lasted 5 years. Too bad, so sad.
no, I'm just saying, I'm wondering if,
Whether you have to go with the lowest bid or
are we saying that both Farner and Thunder Road for the crack fill is qualified to do the work?
Didn't you say Thunder Road just doesn't have to go on cracks, they don't do the flex?
They don't do the flex patch, but that's their way of saying, like, when they came and talked to me, that I was like, oh, do you guys do flex patch? And they're like, no, we do mastic for their flex patch. It's basically. There's like two different, to me, it's two different things, mastic and flex patch, but they think it's.
I guess my question more revolves around the qualification for the public bid. Because if Thunder Road is qualified to do the work that we are asking them to do, why would we not take them?
Well, I don't think it's the fact that it's like, whether they qualify, I just didn't think some of their work was that great, whether, they can say they router it down 3/4 by 3/4, are they going down 3/4 by 3/4 and then cars driving and tearing up the stuff?
But in the bid, did you have the flex patching and move them?
I did have a flex patching in there, so.
They're not giving them
What was
Yes,
that?
I
Yeah,
have.
it did.
Okay, so we can legally exclude Thunder Road
I would say yes.
because they're not complying with the.
You wanted flex patching, you're getting the
This
master.
bid doesn't conform with specifications. So they're like, we going forward in the future, we need to straighten this stuff out.
Yeah.
Next year.
Well, how about Scott?
That's for chip seal.
So for,
That's a lower bid, I'm just saying.
yeah, no, for seal coat, did Scott and Farner qualify?
Yep, so Scott's does chip seal, but they farm out their micro slurring, so they,
Which is completely kosher.
which is fine, they can do it, it's fine, and
So,
they are cheaper than Farner for that.
No one does new landscaping, but you reward bid paid, no one, they're gonna subcontract.
Yeah.
so Scott for seal coat is what I'm hearing?
No, I think he said farmer.
Like I said, this isn't my call. I personally would go Farner for everything just because they had cover everything. And, there's no, like I said, the pointing finger game of why is this section of chip seal popped up? Well, his flex patch wasn't properly put in, and then now I gotta see well, is it you that did it? Is you? And then, like I said, it's also a $9,000 difference, so that's not really will happen. They're both professional companies, probably wouldn't happen, but if it would happen. I don't know.
I think the base, you did the base and alternate one, Farner would be good.
Yeah.
It's when you add in alternate two, then it's going.
Like the- I think in the future, we need to look at what we did this job. We can't do that for this year.
So did your guys' office do any of the bidding? I don't know if you worked with Mitch on this.
Mitch wrote everything, helped me write everything up on it, but I wasn't able to go to the bid at all. But Kathy attended it and for me with this paperwork and stuff, so.
To go along with Joel said, depending what the intent is on the future, yeah, you wanna look how you put this together, that. Maybe you lump it all into one bid with the hopes that Farner's bidding the whole thing, they're gonna be the whole. You don't run the risk of getting one contract for one thing, one for another.
And you end up with a problem where you have multiple alternates and multiple bids, and you can do this with it. And that's not fine.
So if you guys are looking at a capital for the seal quote, I guess it really depends what your budget is and what.
Do we know
Just
what
going
that is?
base bid, you going base bid with one alternate, and
I don't know what, out of the capital, how much she said. Did not know that.
Mark, is this something that should get rebid?
Well, I don't know if it needs to get rebid, I
More
just,
detailed
I wanna make sure
specs.
we're legally qualifying the bidding process, because. I mean, if we're going with Farner, but and we're gonna accept their whole bid, it's more. I don't wanna exclude Scott because,
I think you'd have a hard time on that one doing that, depending again which ones you go with, but. I think you'd have a hard time saying why Scott couldn't. In this scenario.
In the bidding documents, it should clearly
I'm
state. in English,
fully aware, I don't have the
basis of
pre-qualification.
the bid. No, the basis of the bid, what it's gonna be awarded on, otherwise you end up
I mean,
possibility of playing games with the numbers.
right, in the past, we've gotten. A summary and recommendation based off of. All that, I guess I don't see that information this year.
You guys have everything I got.
I mean, we don't have the bid though,
They don't have the bidding documents.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah. But you should in that whole packet, that should be the full, yep, those envelopes should be the bids you got.
This maybe isn't appropriate, but you give
But it's-
Farmer both. Can you talk to them and say, you know, can you lower your bid at all?
No, you can't.
If you wanna have free room and board in a
Yeah.
federal penitentiary, you can do that.
Just had to ask, I
I
thought
don't know. Pass this off. Scott's.
so.
Okay, so that's Scott.
We need to bid
This is
it.
Farner's. chip
That's what
seal
that
bid.
is.
It's Farner's chip seal bid.
Were these separate bids? Were these separate advertisements, like a separate one for crack fighting and a separate one for.
That's a bid, those are not the bidding.
Yeah,
documents.
yep, there are two.
This is.
Yeah, that is.
It's like Thunder Road.
There should be lots of
Chip seal, right? They just do. That's the chips, not the crack fill bits and Thunder Road.
What does that mean, this basis of award?
I'm going to award this project based upon these criteria.
Okay.
Pre-qualification.
No, that's,
That's part
No,
of it.
that's different.
that's part of it, but it's not the basis of award. Basis of, I used to write these things for 50 years, I know it's.
I'm not
Tom, will
saying
you
you're
take a
wrong.
look at
I'm
this?
saying there should be a pre-qualification.
Yes, and that should be filed 5 days ahead of bid, that's.
If
state
you wanna
law.
do a pre-qual, not every bid's got a pre-qual, and so it depends if you want it or not, or.
This is gonna go nowhere tonight.
Yeah.
so. I guess my inclination is. But there's probably. There's probably dates of return on this.
So I think I would venture to make. recommendations.
I will.
You would? Yeah.
Are we gonna do them both as two separate things?
Well, we're only on crack. fill.
The bids are good for 60 days for some reason.
What's the date of it?
I don't know what you're comfortable with them.
Were they two separate bids?
Yes,
Yep.
That we have to do this one
Chip
separate?
seal.
they are. We're only dealing with crack. fill.
Right,
The discussion got lumped into two, so.
yeah.
If anybody's gonna make a motion, it's on crack fill only.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to award the crack filling bid to Garner. For the amount of $99,123.
For base and alternate.
Well, I'm just doing crack filling, number 2.
Yeah, but there was
There's an alternate.
a base and alternate.
I'm sorry, yes, for base and alternate.
Okay,
With my second.
motion's been made and seconded for base and alternate one award to Farner for cost not to exceed $99,123. Any other discussion?
Yes, it should say not to exceed.
Is that,
Based on the mastic, because the other. Contractor did not do the. What was in this
Yes.
that's part of your motion or just discussion?
discussion.
All right, does anyone have any contrary to that? And second still fine with that?
Right.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item D, discussion necessary action to award 2024 seal coat bid and recommendation of the village board of same. And we already kind of heard some information on seal coat, but is there any other further information?
No, I got nothing. I mean, like I said, Scott's or foreigner, it's a bigger chunk of money difference, so I'm not gonna, bat for foreigner, to make you guys go for, like, money's money, so.
I mean, so does Scott qualify for?
Yep, will do the micro slurry too. Just, they farm it out through another company that they use for it, but they do their own chip seal, just they don't think they have a machine that actually does the micro slurry, but they have another company that they partner with to do it.
I make a motion to award the 2024 seal coating to Scott Construction for the alternate 1 plus alternate 2 plus the base bid for $168,288.50.
Motion's been made. Second by Mr. Everly. Any other discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion is carrying 4-1. Alright. Items to be placed on future agenda. We already discussed a lot of those. Any other additional ones?
I've got the gravity sewer, the Walnut Grove speed study. And then possibly 7A coming back. Am I missing anything?
Not that I-
And I have your note for the tank
All
bills.
right, adjournment.
I move.
Maybe Mr.
I
Everly,
second.
seconded by Luke Veal. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
You're at 7:25.
Meeting's concluded at 7:25.
We had a lot to cover tonight.